Hi, I'm KK and today we're gonna talk about Bad Friend. This drama has one season with 10 episodes and this is a story about Ella, who's a very reserved person, and the king, who is a typical playboy. Both of them work in the same office and during this whole story we will see how they will get closer and how they will fall for each other. And I know that from this description it doesn't sound very original and yeah, from some sides it was like this, but let's be honest, this drama is not very original, but this is definitely not a disadvantage. Because at this point we have so many productions that I think it's really hard to come up with something original, but this is not something bad. You can create a very similar story to many others and still tell it in your own way, and this is what is beautiful in art in my opinion. But yeah, let's focus on this drama and maybe let's start from good parts and later let's come to bad ones. The biggest advantage definitely was acting, because we had so many great actors here, and the ones who deserve for the biggest applause are definitely Jane, Ned, Peng, who played as sister, Shane, who played Cleet, and also actors who played as mom, because their roles were very hard to play, but they did a great job. But I think that the person who deserves for the bigger applause is definitely Jane, because playing Ella was very hard, because Ella was that kind of character who had many layers, he was very complicated, and Jane needed to play a lot with his facial expression, or even the lack of this with his eyes and his body language, which is not easy at all, so yeah, he definitely deserved for a huge applause. And another huge advantage was definitely chemistry between Ned and Jane, because it was there, and yeah, I hope so that we will see both of them in the next projects in the future, because I definitely see potential in them. I remember that this drama got very mixed reception, and I'm not surprised, because even after so many months I still can't say if I like this drama or not, because I have very mixed feelings about it. Because when we look at this only as a story, then it was really good, and in general this drama has many good parts, but unfortunately because of this super toxic romance I just can't say that I like this drama and that it was good drama, because no, it was another toxic drama where they try to romanticize many bad things, and yeah, I just don't like that kind of drama. But if someone like toxic dramas with spicy scenes, then yeah, this is a good drama for you. So yeah, I personally wouldn't recommend this drama, but if someone really want to watch it, then be prepared for a huge rollercoaster of emotions and for many toxic traits. And I remember that some people said that the story was super chaotic, and I need to hardly disagree, because this drama makes sense, the story makes sense, and it was very well written. And in general, from technical point, it was also really good, especially camera work and colors, because colors were super important in this drama. And we could see how color palette changed during this episode, and especially with King and Ella relationship. So yeah, it was another good point of this drama, and like I already mentioned, acting also was great. So like I said, this drama had many great parts, but yeah, unfortunately romance and King itself destroyed everything, at least for me. Okay, now let's come to spoiler part, and let's start from last character, since he was our main character. And yeah, again, I need to praise Jane, because he did such a great job with this character, because Ella was a very complicated, deeply hurt and traumatized person who actually deserved for so much more that he got. And here I also want to praise actor who played younger version of Ella, because he also did a great job. And yeah, when it comes to him, I love this character, but I also feel so sorry for him. It was really hard for me to watch it, because he had so much sadness in his eyes, and they were literally screaming for help. He also had this tendency to space out a lot, especially in the beginning before he even started to open himself for King, and it was really hard for me to watch. In general, his story was super devastated for me, and I would like to see a little bit different story for him and a little bit of originality in the story, or if not here, then in another drama, because I would love to see finally that kind of character who find peace, happiness and safety on his own, or at least with someone who will actually care about them, and someone who will be a good person, not person like King who is super toxic, who will manipulate them, because people like with that kind of experiences really often are super easy to manipulate, because this is what they know, and they know how to live with that kind of person, which is really sad. And yeah, I really would like to see the story when this character and with someone who's actually a good person, not another king, Prapai, Tarn, or that kind of characters, because we had plenty that kind of stories already. So yeah, I would like to see a little bit different story finally, but I will probably need to wait for a long time, or maybe I will never see that kind of story, who knows. And everything what he had to go through with his parents was really heartbreaking for me, and seriously, it was just insane, because I will never understand how people can hurt others, especially kids, on purpose. And when they are parents, it's even harder for me to understand, and I will probably never understand that kind of people, but I'm not sure if I even want to understand them actually. But yeah, this mother especially, she was horrible, and she never should be a parent in the first place. She did probably everything to get an award for being the worst parent ever, because she was keep abusing him, she was insulting him, she was beating him, locking him. She even let someone hurt him that badly, and she didn't do anything. And yes, of course, when he grew up, she just wanted money from him. And the worst part is that everything happened to him when he was just a kid. And okay, I want to make it clear, no one ever should go through something like this, but I think it's even more heartbreaking when something like this is happening to a kid, because kids trusting adults, which is good in general, but many adults unfortunately overuse this trust, and kids doesn't have much choice, they just need to be with their parents. So yeah, in that kind of moments it hurt even more, and I just can't imagine for how long I need to go through this hell, because they didn't say exactly in which moment and how old I was when his stepfather started doing this to him. But I repeat it again, it should never ever happen even once. It was just horrible, and yeah, you have no idea how satisfied I was when this guy was arrested finally, and especially that it was in front of all these neighbors. And I'm still surprised, but in a good way, that even after going through such a hell, he still grew up as a really beautiful person with full of compassion, love, and seriously, this mother had such a great kid, but she definitely doesn't deserve him. And I will talk about a few scenes with this mother. The first one was when this hospital called and he was so stressed and he had no idea what's going on, and it turns out that she just wanted his money. And it was so frustrating, but at the same time heartbreaking to see in this condition, and that this monster doesn't even ask him how he feels, and that he was stressed that something happened to her. She just wanted money, and the worst part is that she even had audacity to act exactly the same in front of some stranger, and I mean here king, because this is the worst with that kind of people, that they don't even see that they're doing something wrong, and they think that it's normal how they behave, even if it's not, and it shouldn't be. And also, thing which made me hate her the most probably was this moment when Ella came to her, shaking, being terrified after his father did it to him again. He told her what happened, and she, instead of care about her kid, kicked out this monster and call for a police, do whatever to protect Ella. She beated him, didn't believe him, and locked him. Like, what kind of beast you need to be to behave like this, especially do something like this to your kid? I really have no words for her. And okay, now I want to talk a little bit about the situation when Creed came to Ella's house, and I will talk about Creed a little bit later, but now I just want to talk about this and how Ella's mother reacted on this. First of all, I still have no idea how he even got this address, and it was insane that he went there. I'd even say that he crossed the line a lot with this. I really had no words for this monster, because she liked him so much, and I wasn't surprised actually, because I feel like the worse someone will be for Ella, the more she would like this person. And I was thinking about it a little bit, I mean Creed and Ella, that we saw him as a villain and we hated him, or at least I hope so, that everyone was disgusted about him, because we haven't seen any good things about him. But it would be really easily to change this story into another toxic one, and I'm sure that many people will ship Creed and Ella if we would got some good scenes with them, because we already had that kind of stories, but yeah, that's completely different part, but I just want to point this out. And even the way how she was talking with Ella was so disrespectful and so rude, and the worst part is that she didn't even try to hide that the only thing that she cared about when it comes to him is money. And she even told him this straight into his face, which was heartbreaking. And after her husband was arrested, she gone crazy. If she would fight like this ever for Ella, that would be great, but yeah, unfortunately never. And even more heartbreaking for me was that Ella was standing there looking at them from afar, and I just can't imagine how hard it had to be for him to see his mother in this condition, being so devastated over his abuser, because he probably still had some hopes that maybe she will finally care about him, she will finally pay attention to him and love him, but yeah, unfortunately she never did it. And I was really happy that at least he had someone at this moment, and even if it was King, then I like it, and that he had someone who supported him and, you know, just was there for him. But it doesn't change the fact that this scene was really heartbreaking. And seriously, all of this, what his mother did to him, was just horrible. And yeah, I seriously, when I think about it, it's so heartbreaking for me. And I know that many people are in similar situation like and it's just horrible. And okay, and I want to focus on the only people in his family who actually loved him and cared about him. And I'm talking here, of course, about his aunt and Tonkao. And let's start from Tonkao. First of all, I just love their bond. It was beautiful, and their relationship was so adorable, but I felt so sorry for both of them that they need to go through this hell. Because okay, for Tonkao, their parents were probably better, but still it doesn't change the fact that she needs to see in how bad condition her big brother was all this time. And you know, this is insane for me that even she have seen immediately that something is wrong with Creed and that feel uncomfortable with him, but not their mother. I was even more mad at this mother when she told that Tonkao should send Creed off, and of course he wouldn't do anything bad to her in front of them, but still, you know, normal mother would never want her kid to associate with person like Creed. And yeah, it was insane. And after Tonkao's father was arrested, I felt so sorry for her that she felt like she needs to apologize. And the scene when they met on this campus, it was really heartbreaking for me. From one side, because of Tonkao, that she felt like she did something wrong there, that she should apologize for her father and that she couldn't do anything about it, even if I'm sure that she did everything what she could in her position. But also for because it was probably heartbreaking for him to see his little sister who loved him so much in this condition. And yeah, both of them gone through hell and they deserve for so much better. And in general, I love the scene so much, this whole conversation and their hug. It was so beautiful, but at the same time it was really touching, and every single time when I watch the scene I cry, and even now I want to cry when I just think about it. But yeah, Jim and Peng did such a great job portraying their characters, and especially portraying their bond and how beautiful it was and how tough life was for both of them. And I'm still shocked that even after everything what they gone through, they grew up to be such a beautiful human beings and, you know, full of compassion and love for others. Yeah, this is seriously insane, but in a good way this time. And now I want to talk about the last person from Ella's family who this time was really good for him, and of course I mean here his aunt. And yeah, after the first second that we have met her, she already behaved more like a mother for Ella than this monster. The way how she was looking at him, touching him, holding him, talking with him. She looked at him with so much love, and we could see that she really cared about him and she treated him like her own child. And all the scenes with them were really heartbreaking for me because I just couldn't stop thinking that Ella's life would be so much better if she would be his mother, not this monster. But yeah, unfortunately it was different. It was really nice and refreshing actually to see someone who treated Ella good and who wasn't Jade or Tonkao. And okay, now let's come to probably the longest part in this video, and let's talk about King. And yeah, I will try to point it out everything what I think he did wrong, but don't worry, I won't be that cruel, and I will also mention things which I think he did good, because, you know, even the worst kind of human being can do something good from time to time, and he also did some good stuff. And okay, I will go straight to talking about the relationship because I really don't have anything to say about King itself except that I didn't like him. And let's start from their first night together, because already here King was a problematic one because he slept with totally wasted person, and this is just wrong. And yeah, he already showed that he's a bad person, and that could be actually the end of the story. But the next day, when we have seen being so devastated and literally scared when he realized what happened, was really heartbreaking for me. And later when King acted like he's so hurt after this and that treated him so bad, annoyed me so much. And also I have no idea what was wrong with him, but in the beginning when he wanted to talk with Ella, he was keep locking these doors. And seriously, what kind of normal person lock the door when they just want to talk with someone? Yeah, this person would really feel super safe knowing that they locked. What kind of logic it even is? And you know, all this time when he was manipulating Ella and he was trying to show stuff in the way that Ella will feel like he owes something to King. Yeah, seriously, I have no idea how people can like this character, but whatever. And okay, good that at least he apologized after that night, but still, it doesn't change the fact that he did it in the first place and he had no problem with sleep with him. So yeah, you know, even if he apologized, he couldn't take it back what he already did. But there was one great thing which I really like about this night. Not about this night itself, but that later they came for a checkup and, you know, to do this test. It was really good and I would love to see this more often in dramas because, you know, it was just about their health. And when it comes to our health, there's nothing wrong to check anything and you know, there's nothing to be ashamed of. And again, during this business trip or wherever it was, because I don't know how to call it, Ella was drunk again, and fortunately this time King didn't sleep with him, but it was crazy for me that he expected a reward after this when he hadn't done anything extraordinary. He just behaved for a change like a decent human being, and I really like that Ella pointed out. And okay, now let's focus on this whole part with Creed, and I really want to praise Shane who played Creed because it wasn't easy job to make this character so convincing, and yeah, he did a great job because I could feel this whole stress which Ella felt during all their story, and during watching their scenes I felt so uncomfortable how it should be. So yeah, huge applause for him definitely. And you know, after Love in the Air, I wanted to see him again in a different drama, but maybe not playing a bad guy again. And I hope so that one day we'll see him as a nice guy in some drama. But yeah, everything with he did to Ella was disgusting. And since the beginning, even the way how he was looking at Ella was so alarming, and you know that he was crowded him like this, in general that he behaved like a creep. And okay, I hope so it's not gonna sound bad, but good that at least after this horrible experience that Ella had, he kinda knew how to behave with that kind of people like Creed, and that he knew a little bit how to deal with him, but still it doesn't change the fact that something like this should never ever happen to anyone in the first place. But okay, since this part is about King, I will talk a lot about him and what he have done, because in general when it comes to whole the situation with Creed, on the beginning King behaved very well because he have seen that Ella is in danger, and I really like that King was staying with Ella even after his working hours to protect him just in case. And yeah, in general in the beginning his behavior was very well, but of course when King was doing something good, he needed to destroy it at some point. And yeah, after Ella fortunately escaped from Creed and he ran away from his office and he met King, I was so mad at King that he put the blame on Ella that this happened because of him. And you know, because of his stupid jealousy, which by the way was his another huge disadvantage, he created some stupid ideas in his head what could happen there, and I really have no idea how he could say something like this to Ella when he has seen in how terrible and alarming condition Ella was, because he was shaking, he was terrified, and he clearly wanted to cry. And seriously, what kind of monster you need to be to behave like this? Put the blame on someone in this condition, and at the top of that, King put himself in the center of attention because he doesn't care about Ella as always, and you know that he was wrong because he was worried and that this is his fault, blah blah blah, when Ella was still in this condition. Seriously, after this scene, if anyone still thought that the King can be anyhow good person and that he's good for Ella, then I seriously have no idea what to say, because this is insane. He wasn't a good guy, he was really bad, and in this scene he was extremely toxic and his behavior was just horrible. And I was super mad that after this Ella felt like he was rude and that he did something wrong and that he was the one who apologized first. This is insane for me, that King manipulated him so much, because this is what it is. It was manipulation, because King was another person in Ella's life who destroyed him actually and programmed him to do what he wanted. And that Ea felt like he should apologize King, even if he wasn't the one who did something wrong. King was terrible for him, and King should be the one who will apologize, not Ea. And this whole scene which they show later when King was drunk and he was so devastated after this. If we're supposed to feel sorry for him after this, then I'm sorry, but it was insane because he deserved to feel like this. And if he felt bad about it, then good, because he should after treating someone like this. And this is really frustrating for me that many times we see in that kind of production that people like Ella, no matter what, they will end with people like King who will just use them and keep manipulating them because this is what they're doing. And that in that kind of productions, that kind of behaviors, instead of being shown as something bad, they romanticize. And when people who are really in that kind of relationship and they start to see that there's something wrong and the person who is their partner is the wrong person, after they watch that kind of productions, they could feel like there's something wrong with them when there's something wrong with their partner. And watching that kind of productions, you can even think that this toxic partner is such a great person. And the worst part is that people like Ella really often end with people like King, and if they start to see that something is wrong, they really often start to think that this is still the only thing that they deserve, which is horrible and it shouldn't be like this. And yeah, I'm always so mad when I see that kind of productions that people romanticize that kind of stuff when it should be shown as something bad, because it is bad. And actually after King behaved like this and hurt Ea that much, I think that the best for Ea it would be if he would just cut King totally off from his life, as much as he could, of course, because still they were working in the same place. But yeah, that would be the best thing for him. But unfortunately, it was a kind of drama when he needed to end with King. And yeah, like I mentioned, I don't like it. And when King came to Ea's aunt's place and he said that he's not blaming Ea, I laughed so much because, it's not like he literally did it in previous episode. And also when he tried to justify himself, when he said that because he's just possessive and jealous, then what? If you know that you have that kind of problem, then work on this. It's not a justification. And I was so mad when Ea felt like he needed to apologize and like he did something wrong when he didn't. And yeah, it was really heartbreaking for me to see Ea who felt like this. And from this moment, I knew that Ea just lost himself for this trash King. And I was so mad and so sad, and yeah, I knew that since this moment it will be even worse because he will never say that King is a really bad person. And still at that moment Ea was in very bad condition and he was pretty vulnerable at that moment actually. And of course what King did, then he asked him if he can make a move with him, and another manipulation, because he knew that in this moment Ea probably will agree. But when he wasn't that sure, of course, what he needed to say, he needed to come up with this bed. And yeah, since that moment, I just couldn't stand King when he was on the screen, because I knew that it would be just worse and worse, and I was really mad at him at that moment. And, I wasn't surprised that agreed, because like I said, he was in a very bad moment in his life, and from his perspective, after all what he gone through, it could even look like King really cared about him when he didn't. But yeah, I'm still really mad that they romanticize something like this. And yeah, I'm shocked that even after so many months, I'm still so mad at King. And yeah, when it comes to King and Prapai, probably no matter how much time will left, these two always will be one of the worst for me. And when King said that he never felt that way towards anyone before, well, every playboy once at least said. And of course he doesn't feel like this towards anyone, because every single relationship is different, and that's completely normal that we don't feel the same towards two different people. So yeah, he wasn't the original with it. But I was really proud of Ea at that moment, that he set some boundaries, even if I knew that King is not gonna accept them and he will broke them. And yeah, he did it. He didn't even stand them for a minute. And also, when he tried to help Ea with the situation at Crete, and finally he wanted to do something good, because I believe that he really had good intention. Of course, he did something what potentially could hurt Ella. Why am I not surprised? And yeah, you know, before he sent this video of what Creed did to Ella on this group chat, he should talk with Ella if he's okay with it. And if Ella would agree on this and wanted to do something with it, then and only then did it. But if Ella wasn't okay with it, then no one had no rights to push him to do anything about it. And also, another thing when King messed up so much was this blind date which his mother made it for him. And you know, when he cancelled this trip with Ella, how Ella should behave in this situation, of course he would be hurt. And you know, if King would have that kind of horrible parents like Ella or even similar, then I could kind of understand why he behaved like this. But from what we have seen, he could just talk with his mom, and I'm sure that if she would know what the situation looked like and he would explain everything to her, she would be fine with it and she wouldn't make any more blind date for him. But yeah, better was just to hurt Ella, right? You know, it was almost the end of the story and the King knew Ella already pretty well, and it wasn't hard to guess that Ella is the kind of person who has huge trust issues. And you know, when he saw that there can be something potentially hurtful for him, it was really easy for him to step back. So seriously, what King expected behaving like this? And okay, this is not that much about King, but I had no idea where to put it, so maybe let's talk about it here, because it was really heartbreaking for me every single time when Ella got triggered about something what King did to him and which reminds him of his stepfather. And okay, I want to make it super clear. I wasn't mad at King on the beginning when he didn't know about this stuff, and immediately when he realized that he hurt Ella and that, you know, Ella got triggered and he was so scared, he behaved very well because he tried to comfort him without touching him and pushing, and just talk with him and, you know, try to solve this problem somehow. But I really didn't like that later he, even if he knew that Ella is triggered by very specific things, he still tried to do them, because there were a few moments when he did them or tried to do them and then he immediately apologized. But it can't change the fact that he still wanted to do this in the first place. And again, even if he apologized, it can't take back what he did already. So yeah, this part maybe was a little bit chaotic because I had no idea if it was about King or they just wrote it in a weird way that sometimes it looked like King was okay with this, but sometimes he forget about this stuff or just simply didn't care. So yeah, I don't know, maybe it just depends from King's mood, I don't know. And yeah, like I mentioned, it's not like King was doing only bad things, and here I will end talking about bad things. And before you hate me, I also want to praise him for some stuff. But it doesn't change the fact that he did many bad things, and even if he apologized later, it can't take it back what he did already. And he was keep manipulating Ella, unfortunately, for the whole this drama. And you know, Ella was the person who was very easy to manipulate, unfortunately. So yeah, again, I just don't like that they end together, but since we already had that kind of story, then yeah, maybe better let's come to the good parts about King. And okay, first one was that King bought this cake for Ella and sing happy birthday for him in his birthday. That was really lovely, and I really like that this moment he really cared about Ella and he just wanted to make him happy, and that was really good, and he definitely deserved for a prize for this. But at the same time, you know, it wasn't anything special, but okay, if he already did something good, then I want to praise him for this. But it was really devastating for me to see who was recalling all these memories when he was a kid, and that no one ever did something like this for him. And you know, that he have seen this happy family later when he was blow this candle on his own and when he was singing happy birthday for himself. It was really heartbreaking because any kid should never ever go through something like this. And seriously, I will never understand parents who are so cruel for their own kids. I really don't want to understand it. And yeah, definitely Ella's mother, Pukha, and my father from 10 Years Ticket, and mother from 180 Degree Longitude Passes Through Us, they definitely one of the worst kind of parents that I have ever seen. And there were probably many more others in different productions, but they just the first one who always come up to my head. But okay, let's come back to King. Another scene when I really liked what he had done was the scene when Ella opened himself for him and told him what happened to him and what his stepfather did to him. And I really like the way how King behaved. He was just sitting there, he was listening Ella, let him open himself. He didn't interrupt, and later when Ella finished, he try to comfort him and show him that he really is there for him and he will help him if he needed. And yeah, that he wanted to do something about it. This time he actually asked if he's okay with him doing something about it. And I was really proud of in that moment that he decided to do something about his stepfather. And this is the part which I mentioned at the beginning, that they did something very good which can inspire other people. Because okay, you can think that this is just stupid drama, but that kind of things really can help people in similar situation. Like after they will see something like this, maybe they will find the strength in themselves to fight with their abusers and to help themselves also. Of course they doesn't need to do this, but if they want to, they could do this, and that kind of thing really can inspire people. So yeah, I really like that they did it. And in general, when it comes to this scene, like I mentioned, Ned and James deserve for a huge applause for playing these roles, but for this scene especially because it was really hard. And I'm curious if they got some workshops and how many times they practiced this, because it was really hard, especially emotionally, to play this. And this scene was so hard and they played it so well that we really could feel this heavy atmosphere. And Ella, who was opening himself, and for him it was something good probably, but we could see how hard it was for him still. And also King was listening this, and hearing something like this is hard to hear for everyone probably, because this is horrible what happened to Ella. They played it so well and they made such a great performance here. But I don't like one thing about the scene, because they put in music there, and I think that the scene would be much better without music, if we would just hear their voices and maybe their breath also, but definitely not music. I think it destroyed it a little bit. It's not like it was bad because of this, but yeah, I just feel like music didn't fit to the scene. And I really like that King was the one who helped overcome his traumas, like the one with the light, all with those very specific touch. And yeah, that was another thing which I can praise about King, that he helped so much to Ea, but still I really don't like that they end together. But this is the same situation like I had with Sky in Love in the Air, that as long as he's happy, I'm also happy, because I just love this character. And they know the best what's good for them, and if they're happy with Sky with Prepai, with King, then I'm also happy for them. But I'm talking about their relationship, looking at this from the outside and how it could look like in the perfect world. But as we all know, our world is far away from being perfect. But yeah, I just think that both of them deserve for much better that they got, and they deserve to be in a relationship with someone who will truly love them and treat them well. And okay, since we're talking about King, I want to mention his parents, and I wasn't a big fan of his mom. And okay, I get it that she was concerned, but if someone is concerned, it doesn't mean that they need to be nosy and bossy like she was. She understood later that she need to let him grow up and be an adult. And I know that for many parents this is a problem, but still it doesn't change the fact that I wasn't big a fan of her. But still, they were much better than us parents, but I think it's not hard to be better parents than us. But I like that during this scene with proposal, they tell Ella that now he's their another child, and I really hope so they mean it, and in this bad friend universe they will really treat him like this, and he will finally get this love and care which he should have from his parents. And also okay, it's not that much about King, but again I had no idea where to put it, but do you remember the scene with cat ears? I'm pretty sure that you remember if you watch this drama, because this one of that kind of scene which is really hard to forget. And if for you it was for good reasons, then congratulations, and I'm jealous of you, because for me it definitely wasn't. And yeah, I hate that kind of stuff, and I know that people like different stuff, especially in bed, but yeah, this is always just cringe for me. And when I have seen this, it gave me flashbacks from Turn Type and also from Gap when Sam was pretending to be a dog. And yeah, I definitely don't like that kind of stuff. But when we look at this from technical point, the scene looks really well, because light was great, colors looks beautiful, and in general atmosphere was really good. But what happened there it definitely wasn't for me. And on the beginning I was actually concerned about Ella, because he doesn't seem to like it, and I wasn't sure if he actually wanted to do this or he just wanted to please King. And I still hope so that he enjoy it. And you know, it was probably the first time for him when he take a lead, because from what they showed, he was more used to being treated like a toy. So that was a nice change probably for him. But yeah, it definitely wasn't a good scene for me, and I would love to forget it. Okay, now let's talk about some side characters, and let's start from Jade. First of all, I just love this character. He was my favorite character in this drama. He was such a good, caring and funny person, and yes, he was super chaotic, but I think all of us want to have that kind of friend who is super chaotic for the most of the time, but when situation needed, they can be serious and they always giving the best support. And when it comes to Jade and his friendship with Ella, I love it so much, and that both of them always could count on each other. And I love that Jade was already suspicious when he have seen how Creed is behaving around Ella, and that he tried to do everything to not put Creed around Ella. And there was this one scene when Creed came to their office, and Jade did it so smooth to push him away from Ella that it didn't look weird, and yeah, that was really good. And in general, that he cared about Ella so much, and I know that Ella didn't want to make a problem, and maybe he even thought that he just imagined stuff with Creed, but I would really love him to agree when Jade wanted to come with him to Creed's office a few times, because he would be just safer with him. And Creed would probably not do anything bad to him, but yeah, I get it why Ella didn't want to agree. But again, it was another huge advantage of Jade that he really wanted to help Ella as much as he could. And also there was the situation when Ella came back from his home and he was so devastated, and that he came to Jade, and that he knew that Jade is always there for him, and that he always will support him and help him as much as he can. And I really like that Jade was this comfort person for Ella. Another thing which I love about Jade is that he scolded King when he was mean for Ella. I just love his panic mode when he was accompanying King with choosing this ring for Ella. But there was one thing about Jade which I didn't like, and you know, that he kind of pushed Ella into King's arms, and I don't get it why he even wanted them together, because I get it that both of them were his friends, but even for him King was pretty mean, so why he would be good for Ella? I mean, I can't understand his perspective here. But when I try to look at this from this perspective, King never showed how he treated Ella in front of Jade. In front of Jade, he always was nice for Ella. So yeah, Jade had no idea how it really looks like, but still, I wasn't the biggest fan of this. And especially this one scene after King did what he did to Ella after he escaped from Creed's office. And you know, Ella almost cut King from his life totally, and Jade told him that King theoretically cares about him, which wasn't true at all. And it messed up with Ella's head even more, because he knew that it was wrong and that it shouldn't happen, but because of Jade's words, he started to think that maybe his judgment wasn't right when it was right. So yeah, I didn't like this about Jade, but in general, I love this character. And now when I remind myself Bad Friend, I'm even more angry that they destroyed Jade in Middleman's Love series. Because like I mentioned, here I love this character, he was my favorite character, but in Middleman's Love, I couldn't stand him on the screen. So yeah, now I'm sure that I wasn't wrong, and seriously, here he was completely different than in Middleman's Love. But this is completely another topic, and I will talk about Middleman's Love somewhere in the future. And another side character who I like was Gun, and I know that he was totally side character, but if you know me from TikTok or you're watching my videos here, then you know that I pay huge attention even to the most side characters who are almost like a background. And yeah, Gun was like this, but he was such a cute and funny person, and he was like a kid in this office. Even they treated him like this, but yeah, he was so adorable in this. And I also want to praise their boss, because his behavior was really well, and when he found out about what Creed did and also about Monkol, he didn't try to cover it. And you know, from what they showed, this company was huge, so it was impossible that he would know about everything what's going on there. But in the moment when he found out, he immediately do what needed to be done. He even mentioned this, that connections are not important for him. For him, the most important are his employees and how they work. And also, I really like that he talked in person with Ella and he apologized him on his own, even if, you know, it wasn't his fault, but that he felt like he should do this. That was really nice. And also that he told Ella that if he need, then maybe he should try to see a specialist. And in general, I really like their boss and the way how he behaved. And yeah, now it's time to conclusion. Like I mentioned in the beginning, I still have super mixed feelings about this drama, because if we'll look at this as a romance, then I definitely don't recommend it because it's super toxic. But if we will look at this as a story, then it definitely was a good production. But yeah, I'm not sure if I recommend this drama to anyone actually. And yeah, this drama had many advantages because acting was great. From technical point also it was really good, like, you know, colors, music, light, atmosphere, camera work, that kind of stuff also was really good. But romance and King itself were two huge disadvantages, at least for me, and because of this I just can't say that this drama was good. But yeah, if you want to watch very toxic but well-made story with spicy scenes, then probably this is a good production for you and that would be a great choice. But if you're like me and you don't like toxic stuff because they're just annoying for you and you don't really care about those spicy scenes, as long as they're not bringing anything to the story, then I don't think that this is good production for you. I think there are plenty great dramas out there which you can watch rather than this one, so yeah, maybe just choose something else. But still, I think it's worth it to watch for a story and you know, be in this journey with him and experience his change with him. And yeah, that's all I want to say about this drama. Now it's your turn. Please tell me in the comment section what do you think about this drama, who was your favorite character or characters, and you know, just share your thoughts. I'm really curious to find out what do you think, and thank you so much for spending your precious time with me today. Please remember to take care about yourself, smile a lot, and see you in the next video. Bye bye!